After they hatch, we feed them for 1 month. Then we dispatch them to our customers. These cuts across all the fingerlings. We normally feed them for 1 month just to ascertain that the fingerlings will thrive well and they have gained the market size, and also the immunity is very strong for maybe any shake or shock due to difference in ecological factors. So we majorly do the fingerling production here in terms of aquaculture. So we also have another value chain, that is the fruit value chain, whereby we do the mango crisps, the pineapple crisps, and banana crisps. We started by monitoring the picking and also the harvest of mangoes from the farmer side. So there is a lot of sorting there, so that we don't have a lot of post-harvest being transferred to our plant. So we do a lot of sorting in the farmer side. We also do it when they have arrived to the farm. We have a ripening shed. So basically we do sort mangoes in the farm. We normally pick the mature ones but not the ripe, just to ensure that we don't have a loss in between the logistic part. So after they get into the ripening shed, we do sorting. The processing part is prepared a day prior or a shift prior. So there is also another sorting that is done. It is done in 3 stages. We have the ripe, the unripe, and the half ripes, so that we don't have a lot of shakes during the movement of mangoes to the processing plant. So the ripe ones are then taken to the processing, whereby we have 4 major steps before we get the crisps. We have the washing of the mangoes for hygiene, and also we have the peeling that is done manually. We also have the slicing to achieve the size of the crisps. So after there, the slices are put in the they are moved to the preparation area, whereby we have the solution, that is the preservative. So they are dipped there for 10 minutes, then spread into the drying trays. They are then moved to the drying chambers for 6 hours with a monitor of the relative humidity and temperatures. So the crisps are able to be produced in a span of 6 hours. So one dryer carries at minimum of 250 kgs. So in one shift, because we have 2 dryers, we are able to produce half a ton. So in 2 shifts in Iviani farm, we are able to produce 1 ton of mango crisps. So from there, after 6 hours, we then move them to the temporary storage, whereby we packet them into the translucent buckets, whereby we await for the customers, and also we do the batching. The buckets helps us to monitor the shelf life and also the product and also ease of transportation.
Tunaenda tunachimba miogo. Unapata kuna yule mtu tunampatia kazi ya kuchimba muogo. Ukifika hapa, huo muogo kutolewa maganda, tunapatia watu wengine, wanapata kitu kidogo kutoka pale, na kuna yule ambaye anadeal ndani ya dryer, naye anapata kitu. Na pia kuna yule anatusaidia kukatakata kwa machine, naye anapata kitu. So unapata tumejiajiri. Tumejifundisha mengi kutokana na muogo, mpaka tumeanza add value addition kwa muogo. Tunasaga unga, tunatengeneza unga wa uji, tunachanganya na muogo. Tunauza huo unga wa muogo plain. Tunatengeneza kupitia huo unga wa muogo, tunatengeneza chapati. Tunatengeneza mandazi kupitia huo unga. Tunatengeneza majani ya chai kupitia unga wa muogo. Tunapika keki ambayo tunaipika kutoka kwa unga wa muogo. Kwa hivyo tumejifundisha kuhusu muogo mambo mengi. Changamoto iko, kwa mfano saa hii ni wakati wa mvua, tunapata ile joto ya kutosha pale ndani haiko. Tunapata miogo haikauki kwa haraka kama vile wakati wa jua. So tunaenda polepole. Tukienda kupeleka nje ni mpaka tupate watu wakuje watuangalilie bidhaa zetu, ndio ikue tukiuza hata tukoshua na kile ambacho tunafanya. Kama tunaweza kupata mafunzo zaidi ili tutengeneze vitu ambavyo vina ubora, tutengeneze vitu ambavyo tunajua hata tuweze kufikia mahali tuweze kupeleka hata bidhaa zetu kwa supermarket, tuwe tunaweza kuuza hata popote.
Here we fatten bulls. We bring them in and we fatten them for export, for the local market, and it's a relatively new business for us, seeing that we just brought in our first lot of animals late last year, and they are ready now for disposal. These are the ones you're looking at here. We do work with nutritionists. This food has to be well balanced so that it doesn't affect their rumen. You know, again, they're bovines. They have to ruminate their food and everything. So there is a science attached to it. But as long as they're getting the nutrition that they need, very, very simple. Currently, the demand for beef is really high here. So I think it's a policy, probably a policy issue, I would think, or logistical issue. Yeah, if everything was held constant, and the way I'm seeing the government has a lot of initiatives and there's a lot of push right now to start exporting beef. I think this business of feedlotting will really work, and I'm seeing a good future for it in terms of selling live animals and in terms of attracting many more markets, many more international markets to come and buy our beef, not just in this feedlot but in Kenya generally. But now different customers require different qualities. So the first thing you need to do is talk to your customer. What do you need? Is it lean beef? Is it fatty beef? And then you adjust your breeds and your feed accordingly. So if there's access to the market, how I see it, it would be good to have access to the market, which now would dictate how we raise, what we raise and how we raise for them to uptake. The government could support farmers a little more in terms of research for some of these diseases and anything that might affect these animals negatively. Again, education is very important for us as farmers. Give us a little bit of education. How do we do this? Can we get also some funds? Because this business is quite expensive. Access to funds would be nice. Insurance would be good if the government can, or the private sector can offer insurance services for feedlotting. It would be helpful. In as far as the government would play a role, international markets, international buyers just come. You know, if there is a demand, they will just come. The government, whether government intervenes or not, watakuja tu. And we have seen them coming. If you have quality and you have capacity, watakuja. The biggest challenge we have faced is illness. You know, some of these chronic illnesses. Okay, so you have added, right now we're doing an average daily gain of maybe 1.8 kilo. So you say you add 10 kilo on this animal, and then the chronic illness comes back again, and then it loses weight. By the time you start getting it to wellness so that it can start gaining, that is a big challenge. Another challenge is sometimes it takes a while for them to adapt to this food, because they're used to grazing out there on green, and then now they're coming and then the diet is different. So they get some get rumen problems, but only on the starting. Once they get used to it, that's it.
We produce 3 products, which is number 1, 100% mango puree, and number 2, Makueni juice. Number 3, we have Makueni mist, which is purified drinking water. So what we have is a whole value addition chain for the mango fruit. We have started with the mango fruit. The authority has future plans to venture into other fruit value chains, but for now we have successfully started with the mangoes. We have processed mangoes from the fruit to the table, and that is within the whole process of making mango puree as a fast. This puree is not ready to eat or ready to drink. It's actually for further processing. We get these mangoes at early January through cooperatives. They are brought here. We have systems that we have put in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture, where this authority is anchored. We have put systems at the farm level, control systems, so that by the time the mangoes are getting here, rather the produce is getting here, we know that this particular produce is from these particular farmers. We take mature but unripe mangoes. So when we put these mangoes in our ripening chambers, these ripening chambers are they're actually natural. We let the mangoes ripen natural. They're not controlled. We let them ripen, so that means in a period of between 5 to 7 days, these mangoes will have ripened. The first section is washing. It's a washing bay, where we have the mangoes. The mangoes are poured into the bay, washing bay. We have water and then air bubbles, a little bit of science, and they are washed. And then we also have secondary washing where brushes are involved, and then another sorting table. This sorting table, it is the last sorting table. Here we ensure that no mango goes to the crushing before we have checked the quality and we are sure about it. And it is at this place where we also do tip cutting in the event that there is any mango that has gone past all those other checks, quality checks. After we have ensured that the mangoes are okay, we now go to the crushing. This crusher is actually a destoner. It removes the peel and the seed. These go out as waste, and then we recover the pulp. The recovered pulp is preheated to around 55 degrees Celsius for the purposes of viscosity, so that it can flow through pipes and enzyme deactivation. After that, we move to purification. This purification involves removal of small peels and fibers, and again the black and brown spots. So at the end of the day, we have puree or product that is consistent in color and every other thing. After that, now we move to packaging. Rightly before packaging, we do what we call sterilization to this puree. We heat the product to 110 degrees for full enzyme deactivation and microorganisms, and then we force cool the product back to room temperature, and then we package it. So our puree is packaged into aseptic bags. We have 3 types of packaging. The aseptic bag is the primary packaging, and then after the aseptic bag, we have a poly liner and then a drum. So normally, as you can see, this puree is normally in drums, but inside the drum, we have a poly liner, and inside the poly liner, we have an aseptic bag. So this product in that state can stay for, for up to 2 years. Actually, it's best before 24 months. One of the challenges that we have, one of the biggest challenges that we have currently is on power. We are currently fully reliant on the grid. So that means any other time that we have a breakdown on the grid, then we run out of power. So our proposed solution that we are working on is moving on to green energy, and especially the solar for the operation. Actually, it's actually about setting up a hybrid system, a solar hybrid system, that we can rely on the grid, partially on the grid, partially on solar, or even full solar power for the operations of the plant.
We check the quality of the rice from the farms. We make sure the moisture content is okay. We mill at a range of 11, not below 11 and not above 13. That is good. It doesn't have aflatoxin because we have to care for our customers. And from there, after we've checked the quality and its purity, we take it to the machines. From the first machines, we have a pre-processing machines first. There are 3 of them. The first one we call it copper. It's a sieve-like machine where we remove the impurities, the bigger impurities. From there we have elevator machines that just act like transport mode to transport rice from this process to the next one. So from there we have the second machine, we call it the pre-cleaner, the one that removes the immature paddy rice from the farm and also removes the impurities that may have passed from the first machine. From there we have another machine for cleaning also, we call it the destoner. It removes the mud balls or the stones from the farm. From there, now we have our clean paddy rice ready for processing. To process it, we take it to another machine, modified machine we call a Hala dehusker. The dehusker removes the outer coating of the paddy rice, and you're left with the naked rice now, which we call brown rice. From there, that machine it's not 100, doesn't do it 100%. So we have another machine we call a separator. That from there now we get the pure brown rice ready for eating. From there, for those who don't consume the brown rice, we have machines we call polishers, the one that now polish or scrubs out the outer coating of the brown rice, and you're left with what we call white rice. There are 3 of them, polisher A, B, and C. So by the time the brown rice has come from the first polisher to the last one, it's already white, or what we call cream white. From there, we have value addition machines. There are 2 of them. The first one we call it the grader. The grader has sieves that grades the rice according to the grain sizes. So there we find there is grade 1, the one that we give you, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. So grade 3 and 4 they are taken separately. 3 we call it broken rice, and 4 we call it chicken rice. Broken rice most of the times it's sold for. There are people who eat it also because it's pishori, just that it has been broken, and there are other people who use it to cook for their dogs. And we have the last grade, we call it chicken rice. That one is used for chicken feed. So from there, we have the last machine for value addition. We call it rice color sorter. We have 3 lines, but mainly we run with 2 lines. Each line average has an average of 30 tons per day, and we work from for 12 hours per day, except Sundays. Only Sundays that we close, and we go to churches and people go to other things they do. So it averages to 90 tons per day if the 3 meals are flowing. But mainly we work with the 2 meals, so we go to an average of 60 tons per day of paddy rice.
For coffee, as said, is actually the crop that occupies quite a good number of acreage. Is dominating, is crop number 1. And so what we do here, we have a factory inside the Hiru farm. So after picking, the coffee is taken to the factory for pulping. And then the Archbishop also introduced the roaster house. The roaster house is also meant to roast the coffee. And after roasting, we ground the coffee. And after grounding, we pack now ready for use. And this actually has also generated quite a good amount of money to the diocese. So, and in terms of selling, our coffee has attracted so many buyers, both locally and internationally. And so by so doing, the Archbishop is able to sustain the farm by selling some of those products. For tea, internally we have not started value adding the tea. But what we do after picking our tea, we partner with the Gathudi Tea Factory, so they are our buyers. So we do not pack our tea internally here because we sell direct outside the farm. We do not have the machines that can help us to pack the tea. But still yogurt, we are doing it, yes. I mean for the milk, we have around 92 dairy cows that are lactating. So that's quite a good amount of milk. So we are able to value add. We sell both the raw milk and also we do value addition whereby we make yogurts. And our target customers are actually the Christians also and the people working in the farm also. So that has also generated quite a good amount of money to the farm. And so by so doing, the farm is able to stand by itself. You find the market is front-end with the same kind of product. And so people do not like really to know that this product is from Hiru Farm, this one is from so and so. And so with the fronting of the market, then you find there is what we call the demand is, the demand is low. The supply is high, but the demand is low. Number two, we've also encountered another challenge that is we have encountered quite a number of diseases affecting our products here. Like if I give an example, what happened last year, we are densely affected with what we call the CBD, coffee disease, coffee berry disease, which made our production to actually go down with 50%. That it was uncontrollable, it was unstoppable. We tried all what we could, but I think we were not able to control it. And by so doing, our production was down, it went down. For Hiru Farm, being a private farm, what we buy, like fertilizers, chemicals, the prices is not subsidized for us. And so we find ourselves, getting into a trap, buying those chemicals and fertilizers and herbicides at a very high price. And by so doing, our cost of production is also affected. And so these are the key, some of the challenges that we have. And also when it is raining, being a farm, our feeder runs are very bad. So sometimes to get the products from very far, as I started by saying, this land is over 3,000 acres. So to get the products from very interior becomes a very serious problem. These are some of the challenges that we have encountered as a farm. What I would request, rather appeal to the government, is to make consideration to the farm, because what we do here, we do not only target the Catholics to come and work in this farm. In fact, we get people as far as from the slums, because those are the people we feel the church is targeting to support. And so for the government, I would bring it to the government to chip in and make sure that as they do to the other farmers, they also consider Hiru Farm as one of those farms that need support. And so they subsidize, they come in and they subsidize the products, sell to us exactly the way they sell to the other farmers. That will help us and boost us in a bigger way.
When we receive the hide and skins from farmers, we first of all select, because that's the way whereby we deal with farmers or the dealers of the hide and skins. So that's what the higher the material, the more money you get. So we weigh there and we pay them there. So if your quality is higher, we pay you higher. If your quality is low, we don't. But if you bring us the rejects, we don't buy and take to another place. From there now, you start what we call soaking. Soaking is the removal of the dirt, the removal of the salt. That is not usable now, because initially it was preserved by salt. Now the salt has finished its work. So the next process is to remove them and to open up the hide such that the chemicals can enter in. Next step is removing of the hair. It's a chemical process. And that's why it requires a lot of water anyway. Then also you go to a place called fleshing. You remove the flesh, excess flesh that was left from there. Then you go to turning. Turning, you keep some of your drums running, and that process is called wet blue state. It gives you a wet blue leather. You can export, you can use it here. So at that stage now, the leather is stable. You can store it even up to 6 months, 1 year. But on our side, we do after finishing. So So on the other side now you select. You say before you do anything, select. You want for bag, for leather. It is not the same. For the belt it's thicker. For the handbag it's light. So you selected the quality. This year we produce about 100,000 square feet a year, and we sell local. So those people whom we sell to, they go and make products for exports. And mostly are Kenyans here. Sometimes we go to regional, like Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda, but in small quantities. But major market here is here in Kenya.
We serve 7,800 farmers who bring their tea to this factory. Some of the best shareholders we can ever talk about, because they have supported this factory since 1963 until now. We have processing cities, which is mainly exported to Pakistan, England, UK, and very many other countries. We have Orthodox tea, which you have also given some of the best teas, Orthodox teas, coming from this country to the world. We are just about to release some of the finest brands that will fly off the shelves in supermarkets, called Chinga Light. Beyond Chinga Light, we are going to have another brand that is going to be coming out very soon, that is called Chinga Delight. That is in addition to Chinga Premium teas that we have already selling. We are intending to have Orthodox tea and green tea also in our variation project. Chinga Light will have other additives like ginger. This tea is something that we want to do not only for this factory, not only for the catchment, but we want to do for international market. Inside here in the factory, we have a quality management system, ISO 9001. That is to ensure consistency, and the product that comes out of this factory is consistently good. We are also having another certification, international standard food safety management system, to ensure that the food is safe. So we can proudly tell anybody world over that we have systems in place to ensure that the tea that comes from Chinga Tea Factory is safe, is cultivated by farmers who have minded about the environment, and the factory is caring about the environment. We are caring about sustainability and the future of the planet. We have directly employed 200 employees, and sometimes they go higher when the crop is so high. Our workforce, we have about, out of them, they are permanent and pensionable, and others are here on seasonal contracts. Out of the 7,800 farmers that we are serving, they are able to give us about 17 million kilograms of green leaf per year. In a good month like this one, we are expecting to have about 2 million kilograms of green leaf. And in lower seasons, during pruning, the crop can go down to about 1 million. Cumulatively, in a whole year, we do about 18 million kilograms of green leaf. The tea they bring this month, at the end of the month, they are assured of 30 shillings per kg of green leaf. That was just recent, which we were coming from 25. Below, we were at 20 just last year. So the farmer's income has been growing. Another thing that we have been seeing is the return. After the profits are calculated at the end of the year, we have what we call final payment or second payment, which is the profit that the farmers accrued, which have also been growing. Last year, we were able to give a final payment of 43 shillings and 50 cents. One of the things that I want to appreciate the government that has done recently is to remove VAT from tea sales which are being sold at the gate. That 16% VAT has gone a long way in improving the fortunes of the farmers. We would wish to see the government do more in terms of marketing. We know we have a body, very many bodies that market products from Kenya. We would wish to see more countries going to negotiations with the tea. Before I go far, I remember the teas or the agricultural products going to China has been zero rated. So we would wish to see more accelerated marketing, and we appreciate that initiative. But now we want to see more help in taking this tea to other markets in China, because one of the biggest challenges that we have as a company is over-reliance on traditional markets. We want the government to assist us move tea to different markets, and that will be good. We also appeal for support in value addition. We have heard the government talk about common user facilities, removing some taxes on the burden of the farmers. Those initiatives are welcome. We look forward to better working conditions here, and also proper other markets courtesy of government initiatives.
Nikipeleka majani chai wananichukulia harabu, ninachukua pesa zangu mwisho wa mwezi. Huo mwingine ni tuseme kama fertilizer, tunasaidiana na fertilizer. Tuseme kama hawa extension officers wanakuja wanatuonyesha ile tutafanya kwa mashamba.
Tukiingia kwa cashew nuts, hiyo process ya kwanza kabisa inatakikana korosho, ununue korosho kutoka kwa wakulima ama kuna wale brokers ambao wananunua kutoka kwa wakulima. Sasa inatakikana zinunuliwe kwa wakulima mpaka zinifikie hapo mahali niko kwa store yangu. Sasa mimi nilianzisha hii kazi baada nikaanza kupanda seedlings za mikorosho, nikagawanyia hawa wakulima hapa mtaani. Na nilipowagawanyia hizo seedlings, niliwaambia wakipata hizo korosho zao wawe wananiuzia mimi, alafu mimi nikaanza kuprocess. Sasa hiyo ilinifanya hawa wakulima hapa karibu wanipate hiyo korosho yao kwa urahisi, kwa sababu nilikuwa baada ya kuwagawanyia hizo seedlings ilikuwa ni rahisi kwao kuniamini na kuniletea hizo korosho. Si watu wananiletea bure, nanunua, lakini ni rahisi, si hawezi enda kwa mtu mwingine. Sasa mimi zile ambazo na process hapa ni zile ambazo nanunua kwa hawa wakulima ambao wako hapa karibu na mimi. Nanunua kwao na nazileta kwa store yangu, alafu naleta hapo kwa mtambo, nazianika. Processing yenyewe na include zikiingia mpaka uanze kuzianika mwanzo. Nazianika kama 2 days, alafu nikimaliza kuanika ndio naziingiza kwa boiler. Zinaingia kwa boiler. Boiler yenyewe inachukua kama 200 kg. After 40 minutes inatoa. Sasa zikitoka kwa boiler lazima zikae, uzianike tena under shade kwa kama 12 hours. Sasa baada ya 12 hours ndio unaenda kwa shelling. Tuna mashine hapa ya kuvunjia, hiyo inaitwa shelling. Ndio tuna shell hizo ambazo tumezianika kwa 12 hours. Tuna shell, alafu hiyo ni kama process ya kwanza, kwa sababu sasa zikipikwa hiyo shelling sasa ndio process ambayo ni ngumu sana, kwa sababu sasa hiyo ina involve machinery, ina involve ni manual, ina involve machinery, na hizo unajua sasa zile ziko corrosive pia, lazima uwe na protect, wanapaka mafuta ya nazi kwa kuprotect ile mikono yao isibambuke. Wakimaliza kushell, kuna watu ambao wanaziscoop, alafu ndio zinapelekwa kwa dryer. Sasa zikipelekwa kwa dryer zinakaa kama masaa 4 kwa dryer, alafu after 4 hours zinatolewa, zinaenda kwa peeling. Kuna section ya peeling, zinapelekwa kwa peeling, watu wana peel na manual pia, kutumia mkono. After peeling kuna section nyingine ya sorting, maanake pale wakipeel kuna pieces ambazo zinachanganyikana na zile holes. Sasa zinapelekwa hapo kwa sorting, zinasortiwa zile pieces na zile holes zinawekwa kando. Zikitoka hapo zinaenda kwa grading. Grading, sasa hapo wanachagua kama ni holes, wanachagua zile kubwa, alafu zile middle, alafu na zile ndogo, alafu na hizo pieces zinawekwa kando. Hapa ni grading. Kutoka kwa grading sasa tunaenda kwa value addition. Tunaenda sasa hapo kwa value addition. Kwa value addition, korosho tunaweza kufanya kama mara 5 hivi. Tunaweza value add. Hapa tuna value add kama mara 5. Kuna salted, kuna ambao tunaweka chumvi, hiyo ni salted. Kuna plain, hiyo hatuweki chumvi, tunakaranga, tunabaki hivyo hivyo. Alafu kuna ya pilipili, hiyo ni chili. Alafu kuna caramel. Alafu kuna yahani. Hapo sasa tunakuwa tumemaliza kuvalue add. Alafu tunaenda kwa packaging. Tuna pack namna hii. Kuna changamoto sana. Ya kwanza, korosho inanunuliwa na watu wengi sana na kampuni kubwa kubwa. Ziko kampuni kubwa kubwa ambazo pia nazo zinanunua hiyo korosho hiyo moja, na wale bei zao ziko juu. Lakini sisi processors wadogo pia inabidi tununue hizo korosho hiyo korosho hiyo. Sasa bei zikiwa juu, sisi kwetu huwa ni changamoto, kwa sababu hiyo hatuwezi kununua stock kubwa ya kutosha. Tunanunua tu ile stock ambayo tutakuwa tunaweza basi. Kwa hivyo hiyo changamoto ya price hiyo huwa iko nyingi sana kwetu. Kuna hiyo changamoto ya mabei, kushindana na wale big fish au processors wakubwa, hiyo iko. Alafu kuna wakati mwingine pia season saa nyingine inakuwa fupi. Pengine kumekuwa na kiangazi sana, korosho zinakuwa kidogo. Sasa zikiwa kidogo, unakuta sasa competition inakuwa juu sana. Sisi sasa tunashindwa kucompete na wale watu wakubwa.
Into this business around 9 years ago. We started initially with a 4-acre plot where we were doing commercial potatoes. And then we saw that there was an opportunity in the production of seed potato. At that time, Kenya was only producing about 5% of the demand of the potato seeds. So we saw that there was a huge gap and opportunity for us. So we did some research online, got connected with the Center for International Potatoes. They were rolling out a program of apical root cuttings, which was a new rapid multiplication method for seed potato. So during that trial, I met with a scientist named Monica Parker, who helped me through the process and really pushed me to get into the seed production business. I got my first farm in Nyandarua, and initially we started the company as a decentralized seed production hubs, of where we would do some of the base seed production directly on our farms. Then we would contract some of our outgrowers to be able to continue that multiplication process of those potatoes. One of the things that was really important for us as we're starting this is to be able to have all the players that are in the potato value chain come under one roof. So, you know, as we come into a county, we get to the local officers, the agricultural officers, to make sure that they're aware that we're in there. Initially, when we started the company, we included the national government to let them know kind of the initiatives that we wanted to do in the country. We also incorporate some of the non-government organizations. So we've worked along with SNV, We worked along with ILRI in a couple of different projects. We worked along with USAID when they were doing some projects. We work with different cooperative groups. We've done a couple of projects with cooperative groups of where we've initiated some seed production directly with some of the cooperatives. So the biggest one that we worked along with was the Potato Union of Nakuru. So that was a big initiative that in the initial stages of this production that we've helped them to get their seed production up and running. We've worked really closely with Farm to Market Alliance, which has been a real help for the community and doing a different initiatives where they've done also some farmer education. They've done some training in spraying. They've done some training in value add directly at the farmer level. So we work with them in various different initiatives. Fresh Crop Limited is a full value chain approach potato company that goes all the way from breeding new varieties, doing trials of varieties in country, also doing mini tuber production, seed multiplication, commercial potato growing, and most recently getting into value addition. Currently, we have one factory that's making fresh cut French fries, Lyonnaise, whole peeled, wedges, cubes, and breakfast potatoes. We've gotten up to over 100 full-time employees. And then on a daily basis, we have around 500 casual laborers that we support in the different communities. And it was really important that as we go into the communities, we kind of get different lady groups, different men groups, and we rotate them to give fair and equitable chance to be able to come and make income. In the last 2 years of our casual labor, we've generated about 28 million shillings in casual labor salaries, which has been a huge impact to this community that typically were only doing grazing. So we did a process of where we brought them in, trained them on the farm. We segregated them into groups so that we can have training groups, and we introduced them to all the different aspects of the farming. So they do anywhere from planting, they go to roughing, which is removal of any off types of potatoes that are there. They do spraying. They also come into crop maintenance where they can do harvesting, and then they can do transporting back to our facility.
I oversee the whole process of starting from the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, we deal with the apical cuttings, and then coming to the field, the land preparation, the planting processes. I ensure that we use the customized nutrition programs. Before we do the land preparation, we have to do the soil sampling processes. And after that, we do the customization of our nutrition. So first of all, when we do the sampling of the soil sampling, we check for the diseases and the pests, and also for the nutrition requirements. So after that, we are able now to do the planting using the customized program from our soil testing.
Ile kazi kubwa ambayo tunafanya ni kuweza kuelimisha wakulima, training on good agricultural practices, kuwaelimisha mambo ya climate smart agriculture, na kuwalinki pia na inputs, certified seeds and other inputs, mostly on potato value chain. Tuko na platform ya Fresh Crop ambayo unaweza i-access ama unaweza i-download kutoka kwa Play Store. Once you download, you can book your potatoes or your seeds from that portal. Another method we use is digital marketing, whereby we are in Instagram, we are also in Facebook, and farmers can access Fresh Crop through those platforms.
Fanikio la kwanza, tulikuwa na changamoto ya kupata mbegu. Mbegu ambayo tulikuwa tunatumia ilikuwa mbegu duni za kienyeji. Ilikuwa tukipanda unapata kwa kama eka moja, ukitumia ile zetu za kienyeji unapata kama gunia 30 mpaka 40. Lakini baadaye tulipokuja tukapata ile elimu ambayo tulipewa na hawa na yale tukapatiwa mbegu na masomo. Sasa hizi eka moja tunapata kama gunia 120, 140. Walitufundisha kwa tulikuja kwa ground, wakatufundisha jinsi ya kulima, kutengeneza shamba vizuri na kurudia. Kwanza kabla shamba kuchukuliwa ilikuwa wanachukua mchanga wanapeleka kwa lab kuhakikisha hakuna ile bacteria na nini ambayo inaharibu viazi. So baada ya hiyo wakatupatia go away, akatupatia mbegu, akatupatia fertilizer na kemikali ile za kunyunyizia baada ya mimea kumea, na vile akatupatia program ambayo tunafuata kila wiki, unatakana upige dawa gani wakati gani. So tumefuatia hiyo program yote, akatupatia hizo mbegu na dawa. So baada hizo kupatiwa hiyo, tukaona tumefaidika sana. Tena tukirudi mambo ya marketing, kule kwetu kuna mabrokers wengi. Tulikuwa tunauza gunia moja kama 2,000 kabla kujiunga na Fresh Crop. Tulikuwa tunauza 2,000 ama 1,500 kwa gunia wakati tulikuwa na brokers, lakini tulipojiunga na Fresh Crops wakatutafutia market. Kuna market size kama mula iliyopita mwezi wa 11 12, gunia moja kwa tunauza 4,200. So unaona kati ya 1,500 na 4,200, unaona sisi kama wakulima tumepata faida kubwa kifedha, na pale tena mazao ni mengi, kuanzia gunia 30 mpaka gunia 120. So tumefaidika sana kwa hii kampani ya Fresh Crop.
We undertake 3 value chains at large. That is the value chain of mango, that's the fruit part. We have also the aquaculture. We also have the animal feeds value chain. So I'll start with aquaculture value chain, whereby we do majorly the production of fingerlings. We do two varieties, that is the catfish and the tilapia. So catfish, it's more of artificial insemination, not like tilapia, where tilapia we just collect the eggs and then incubate them for like 3 to 4 days. The eggs hatch, then after they hatch, we feed them for 1 month, then we dispatch them to our customers. These cuts across all the fingerlings. We normally feed them for 1 month just to ascertain that the fingerlings will thrive well and they have gained the market size, and also the immunity is very strong for maybe any shock or shock due to difference in ecological factors. So we majorly do the fingerling production here in terms of aquaculture. So we also have another value chain, that is the fruit value chain, whereby we do the mango crisps, the pineapple crisps and banana crisps. We started by monitoring the picking and also the harvest of mangoes from the farmer side. So there is a lot of sorting there, so that we don't have a lot of post-harvest being transferred to our plant. So we do a lot of sorting in the farmer side. We also do it when you have arrived to the farm. We have a ripening shed. So basically we do sort mangoes in the farm. We normally pick the mature ones but not the ripe, just to ensure that we don't have a loss in between the logistic part. So after they get into the ripening shed, we do sorting. The processing part is prepared a day prior or a shift prior. So there is also another sorting that is done. It is done in 3 stages. We have the ripe, the unripe and the half ripes, so that we don't have a lot of shakes during the movement of mangoes to the processing plant. So the ripe ones are then taken to the processing, whereby we have 4 major steps before we get the crisps. We have the washing of the mangoes for hygiene, and also we have the peeling that is done manually. We also have the slicing to achieve the size of the crisps. So after that, the slices are put in they are moved to the preparation area, whereby we have the solution, that is the preservative. So they are dipped there for 10 minutes, then spread into the drying trays. They are then moved to the drying chambers for 6 hours with a monitor of the relative humidity and temperatures. So the crisps are able to be produced in a span of 6 hours. So one dryer carries at minimum of 250 kgs. So in one shift, because we have 2 dryers, we are able to produce half a ton. So in 2 shifts, in Iviani farm, we are able to produce.
Good afternoon.
Of mango.
Welcome to this panel. In this tent A, we're going to discuss on e-mobility, and the panelists are here. So I would like to request the panelists to come over, and then we'll be able to introduce ourselves when we are in front. So, Kadri, Madam Elizabeth, Engineer Okere, Engineer Mugambi. Yes, you can come forward, Richo, Madam Richo. Please, we need some more microphones. One more microphone. I want to thank all of you for making it to this panel. Definitely, I know it's quite a moment, especially when you consider we are in the tail end of the day. But we want to promise that we're going to keep time. Basically, I think we'll be done within 30 minutes, and then we allow you to ask the questions that you might have. So this is a panel on e-mobility value chain. And before you is a panel. I will ask them to introduce themselves by way of answering us a question. And myself, I'm Professor Geoffrey Gitau. I am the CEO of a company called Ecomobilas. When you were in the plenary, my partner, Paul, introduced us, so I don't have to take much time to introduce myself again. So I want to start us off with a question, and if I may sit down. And the question is, from an industry perspective, where do we see Kenya standing in the e-mobility transition that is taking place? I'll do that by way of allowing each one of us from Madam Lecho there to introduce herself and respond to that question in terms of where she comes from, what your observation is about where we stand as Kenya in e-mobility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Rachel Wanyamawi. I work for the State Department for Transport, and I am in charge of the electric mobility in the State Department in the Road Directorate. And it's such a good question where we are from an industry perspective. As we all are aware, the Ministry of Roads and Transport launched the electric mobility policy on 3rd February this year. And I feel like that's such a significant move from the government of Kenya, especially in the region, in Africa. We are the first ones to come up with the e-mobility policy. And I feel that's one of the strides that we've taken. And also, one thing we've noticed and observed from the industry is there's been quite an uptake of electric mobility already. In the period of 2018 to 2022, we had approximately 3,700 vehicles, EVs. But as of 2025, we were at 35,000. So that's quite a huge leap. And I feel like this was partly due to, in 2025, in the finance bill, we found that the National Treasury was able to zero-rate e-motorcycles and e-buses for VAT, and also lithium-ion batteries. So that really gave the confidence for investors to come invest in the country. That's where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Njoroge. I work at KenGen. And in terms of e-mobility in our country, I think we have made the necessary noise that has attracted the government to give the incentives, has attracted the necessary investors to come into our country. And that's why you find companies like Basigo are ongoing in e-mobility, the companies like Rome, which means there is a lot of progress that is taking place in terms of e-mobility. And even this conference is part of that necessary noise, whereby we have to create a lot of public awareness on e-mobility so that we are building confidence, so that you have the confidence to buy that e-vehicle and you are aware that it will be saving you in the long term. And that's what I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Engineer Anthony Makoha Okere. I'm a consulting electrical engineer and representing Engineers Board of Kenya. Engineers Board of Kenya is a regulator. We register, we are involved in the entire value chain. Now that we are talking about value chain, involved in the entire value chain of engineering, education, training and practice. We license engineers, we do compliance, and to make sure that we have competent engineers that are able to drive the economy. So insofar as this discussion is concerned, the where we are as a country, I would say we are at the takeoff stage. We are a space where we have done the foundation in terms of now, if you put it from the engineering point of view, and we are at a place where there's a lot more opportunities that we can create. We have realized there's huge potential. The country has a huge potential in terms of creating opportunities in the entire value chain. And from the regulator's point of view, we are talking about building capacity, whether it is in terms of innovators, whether it's in terms of coming up with the competent engineers that are going to, collaborate and participate in terms of the e-mobility ecosystem. And it's not just from engineering point of view. We're talking about safety, engineering excellence, talking about innovations. Previous panels have talked about generation of power. So it is an ecosystem that involves quite a number of stakeholders, because it's an entire value chain. When you talk about an electric car, it has so many components and so many people and stakeholders are involved. So ours, from the engineer's point of view, is to have adequate capacity, competent engineers. Right now we have signing in what we call acceding to the Washington Accord, whereby our engineers not only are able to compete locally but also globally. So we are looking at building the capacity in terms of having human resource that is able not only to contribute in terms of production of these vehicles, but also in terms of even maintenance. I think the previous panelist talks about battery engineers. So we are looking at the modern kind of competencies. The electric vehicles will involve maintenance of the motors, maintenance of various components. So we'll be looking at equipping this human resource to be able to contribute in the value chain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Mugambi. I'm from Kenya Power. At Kenya Power, I take care of the fleet. I run one of the biggest corporate fleets in the country. Also at Kenya Power, I lead the e-mobility team, or rather the team which is helping the country transition to EVs. The energy sector has very many players, but we are the only player who actually interacts with the customer. So anything which gets the customer from the energy space comes through KPLC. Where do I see this industry? I started interacting with this industry almost 8-9 years back. And over this time, I've seen we have done a lot of product experiments. We have done product development for the local market, adapting foreign products for this market. But over the last 2-3 years, we have seen products which are actually ready for our applications, whereby those products can actually be used locally and can be able to function the way we expect them to function. The other thing, what do I mean? We have products which have gone to the market, which have actually matured, and as one of my colleagues here has mentioned, we are takeoff stage. The other thing which I've noted over this period of time is that as late as of a year back, we were talking about EVs in about 3-4 counties. That is Mombasa, Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, and a bit Kisumu. Right now, as of the last count, we are at 37 counties and counting where we have EV footprint. And as Rachel has mentioned about the numbers, maybe to bring it into perspective, I would wish to just actually read the numbers. over the last 8 years. Just for the team to, or rather for us to appreciate. In 2018, we had 65 units registered EVs in the country. 2019 at 129, 2020 104, 2021 284, 2022 we registered 475, 2023 we were 2,600. And this is the time when policy issues interventions started taking place, including the e-mobility tariff. So that in 2024, this number jumped from 2,600 to 5,200. 2025, another five-fold jump to 24,750. So as of the end of the last year, the registered EVs were close to 35,000. That's a 3,800 units. So with those numbers, you can guess where we are this year. So there is a lot of potential in this space, especially for the youth, taking into account this is a new technology. The old people like us, very few of us will adapt, but we expect the youth to take this. This is also the only space in the engineering space where both the female and the male gender have equal opportunities without one of them dominating the space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer. At this juncture, I would like to go back to Madam Lecho Wanyamawi. You are in the policy area, and when you talk about e-mobility, I know my partner Paul defined it, and most of the times when we think of e-mobility, we think of road transport, but e-mobility is also happening even in the oceans. Like our youth here, when they are doing their boats there, there's something also to think about. Now, you mentioned the e-mobility policy. Could you kindly enlighten us on what the e-mobility policy is able to do for us in terms of incentives?
Thank you so much. So in the e-mobility policy, we were quite comprehensive. We dealt on 5 thematic areas. We have energy, we have now the policy change, we also have industrialization, we have capacity building and technical enhancement, technical skill enhancement, and we have fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. And how we did the implementation of, how we've structured the implementation of this policy is we wanted it to be a multi-sectoral kind of implementation. So most of the time, as we know in Kenya, we usually have policies, but then we just put them on the shelf because we don't have that synergy between other stakeholders. So for what we saw that for this policy, for us to actually excel in this policy, in the implementation, is we need energy. We need the Ministry of Industry, we need the National Treasury, and we also need the Ministry of Education. So in terms of incentives, in 2025, the finance bill was really very good in terms of the e-mobility incentives. We had a zero rating of, as I mentioned earlier, lithium-ion batteries for the e-buses, for the e-motorcycles. However, we have seen a gap in terms of the incentives, and the fiscal policy is not quite stable. So investors are still asking, what are we doing for them? Right now, we were trying to actually talk with the Ministry of Industry and talk to the National Treasury to now put more incentives, especially in the e-trucks. We don't have for that, and also in the three-wheelers, the tuk-tuk. So the tuk-tuks, as per now, are quite more expensive than how the two-wheelers are for the electric tuk-tuk. So because they don't have incentives for that one. So we were trying to look into that area, and also we were trying to look into e-trucks, and maybe my colleague engineer Mugambi can attest that right now they launched an e-truck from Nairobi coming to Mombasa with some of our development partners, the KPLC. And you see that this technology is coming. We have flower farms in Naivasha using e-trucks, and more want to start using. So we're looking into how can we make it more conducive for investors to come and bring in e-trucks, and also we are promoting local assembly. So I know there's been a question of why are we not incentivizing so much for completely built units? The reason as to why we're not doing that is because as a country we are looking to job creation. How are we going to do job creation if we now bring in an influx of completely built units? So what we're encouraging is local assembly, the semi-CKD, completely knocked down units so that we can be able to have jobs for the youth, and also we can have the technology transfer. Right now, China is very big in terms of technology in the EV sector, and they're coming into the country. So we want when they come into the country, when they do local assembly, they can be able to capacity build our youth in that. So what we are really looking into incentivizing right now is the local assembly.
Okay, I don't want you to answer this question now, but I want you to keep it in your mind. Whether Kenya is becoming ready for total ban on use of fossil fuel vehicles. Are we becoming ready that we can tell people, be on the watch, maybe in the next 3 years, there'll be no more fossil fuel vehicles, so that you don't have to strike again for petrol and diesel because you no longer need it. Maybe you start thinking about it. You might want to enlighten us on that. And I'm here with Engineer Mugambi, my neighbor, and we know the role of Kenya Power. You have had such a monopoly in power supply, and we are looking up to Kenya Power to give us power for our vehicles when we are going EV. How ready are you for this? And what gaps do you foresee? And how are you preparing yourself so that you'll be able to provide us all the necessary infrastructure for us to run our vehicles?
Thank you, Professor, for that question. At Kenya Power, I would wish to assure you that we are much ready. But before I actually put any, before I continue, let me put something into perspective. We mentioned that this is an industry at the nascent. At the moment, our energy demand is, for figures purposes, it's around 11 gigawatt hours. 11,000 gigawatt hours annually. Our annual growth is about 8% annually, 8 to 10%. E-mobility demand last year was 10 gigawatt hours. That's less than 0.1%. Therefore, the grid capacity, we already grow at 8%. So what is an extra 0.1%? So it is right now, we are just at the start. Therefore, we are looking into the future as opposed to our readiness today. We are already prepared for 10% growth annually. So the e-mobility load is so low at the moment to be able to be a threat to the grid. The other issue I may wish to raise is that we are well positioned, as my colleague from KenGen and even earlier in the previous panel. Our energy is predominantly green because it's hydro, it's geothermal, it's wind, it's solar. Over 90% of what we dispatch on the grid. Therefore, we are actually ready. Also, we also need to note that apart from generation, Kenya Power has a responsibility of strengthening the grid in terms of the distribution network and where power is required. So we are geared towards strengthening the distribution network. Over the last couple of weeks, I think you have seen a lot of activity with KETRACO, commissioning a substation down here in Kilifi. We are also the interconnectors between the Western and the Central Rift also taking place. Therefore, also at the distribution level, KPLC is doing the same. And right now, our challenge is actually predicting of where this demand, EV demand, will be. But right now, we are looking at mostly cities where we have public transport. As you know, is that the first area which will be is viable for purposes of electrification is public transport, last mile logistics, taxis, buses, motorcycles, because of the commercial nature of the operation, taking into account that EV you save in the long run from running costs. Therefore, if you do 5 to 10 kilometers a day, you might not be the right candidate for EV on day one, simply because the cost will be prohibitive. But if you are doing high mileage, then you are ready for EVs. Then we are looking at the price points for various products. And we know that quite a number of products, due to the local assembly, which has also been mentioned, like the two-wheelers, they are actually cheaper than their fossil fuel counterparts. When we look at the Matatu, the 14-seaters, after we started assembling them locally, they have come down to the same price point as the Toyota Hiace we are used to. The trucks are also, I think, right now the first few trucks are on the road, having been assembled locally. So as we continue with the local value chain improvement, then we expect these vehicles to become very viable. So as Kenya Power, we wish to assure the public that we are ready for the transition, and we will support the transition throughout, and we, in conjunction with the rest of the energy space. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Engineer. Perhaps like I did with Madam Lecho, I also have a question for you to start pondering about, in that you may not be in IPRA, but you see their policies also affect power rates. And recently there was an increase on power. Was it 4 shillings and 4 cents? Yeah, is that going to affect e-mobility? And that aside, in the sense that as much as Kenya Power has done quite a wonderful job in national coverage, we still have very many regions that are not covered by power. And these are people who are also very eager to adopt e-mobility. We want to hear what is your take about them getting alternative sources of energy for them to be able to get electricity for e-mobility. What do you think? Is it provided today, or do we need to do something to make it possible going forward? So keep thinking about that, and I'll come back to you at a later point. So I'm now with Engineer Okere. Engineer, you did mention about the role of Engineering Board of Kenya in terms of standards and controls in terms of these vehicles. We do have our neighbors, Ethiopia and other countries, that have opened their doors completely to allow every manner of EV to come in. And I know Kenya, we are very strict and very firm about standards and so forth. Now, as an engineering body, how do you perceive the industry of EVs? Is there something that we need to start thinking now, rather than having an afterthought after it has happened, so that at least in our adoption and development, we are able to make sure that the standards that we are adopting are the right ones? Remember, we have challenges to do with like the chargers. They used to have our phone chargers are so many different. The same way is happening with the EVs. There are so many different categories of chargers. So those are some of the challenges of standardization. We have the question of the infrastructure, whereas we are still putting up the swapping stations. If I bring my vehicle, the battery cannot swap with the one that Engineer Mugambi is bringing. Do we need to have some standards around the same? How do we bring sanity, order, that there may be some guided way of successful implementation as far as standards are concerned? All that put together. Thank you.
Excellent question. So in terms of as a country, one thing nationally we need to look at and guard jealously is our national strategic interests. And our strategic interest is that Kenya to prosper, Kenya to grow economically. And of course, we have to be alive to the fact that we are not just competing locally, but we're also competing globally. So we need to put that in mind. And at the heart of it is standardization, because then right now KEBS is the one, Kenya Bureau of Standards is in charge of spearheading standards development, and there are different standards that are used in terms of vehicle manufacture, whether they are battery standards for the charging system, charging infrastructure, different standards. Just give an example in the context of local manufacturing. Let's say Juakali wants to produce a certain spare part of an electric vehicle so that we can promote local manufacturing. Is that part going to be sold in Germany? Is it going to be sold in Australia? The question is, there are so many stringent standards and at both national, global level that would kind of make it so difficult for this local manufacturer, let's say a Jua Kali, to be able to reach those requirements? So as a country, how do we then protect those interests? How do we raise those, to produce a certain spare part that can be sold globally? Because then that means we'll be not only competing locally, but we'll also be competing globally. So we need to put an environment, whether it is incentives, whether it is financing, whether it is research and development that we've really been talking about. How much are we putting research in these electric vehicles so that then we have a product that is globally competitive? So that when we are not just talking about importing and assembling alone, but maybe that is the first phase, but we should now be thinking about getting competitive in the entire value chain, so that we're able to produce, whether it is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is like the motherboards and the electric circuits and power electronics. Tier 2, and still tier 2 would be like the tires and I think the paint, body parts and so on. Then we have tier 3. So how can we then get involved? And I would like to take it from the Engineers Board of Kenya. We have we collaborate with other countries. We have the mutual recognition agreement, whereby an engineer can practice here in Kenya and also in Tanzania, in Uganda, and so on. That's the kind of regional collaboration that we need. Because if you look at the electric car, e-mobility, the electric car has specific minerals that are, for example, manganese, titanium, cobalt, that are used in the manufacture of batteries and parts of the electric car. So how can we have a regional collaboration in terms of entering into that space, so that we're able to get involved in terms of production of these parts, local parts, for localization. So in other words, the standards, then we should be able to look at what the needs that we have now, and we foresee the needs in future. Because then it means we're able to preempt, we're able to, through research and development. That's why financing is going to be very important. We have to be intentional, and it's my prayer that the discussion, this one, goes beyond policy. Because most of the time we are very good at this kind of fora. We will have a discussion here, we'll have policy, but when it comes to implementation, then it's another thing. So that we have intentional clauses that goes to research and development. When we have standardization, we have standards that is able to promote the local production. If you remember 1987, we produced our own car. For sure, if we had encouraged local manufacture, if I'm saying a big if, and I'm saying that as an afterthought because it has already happened, surely let us learn from the 1987 failure. We felt bad about failure, but if you look at other jurisdictions, for example, Thailand, they are ahead in terms of vehicle production. If you look at Association of Southeast Asian countries, they produce 4.2 million vehicles, local production. And we can learn lessons from them. They didn't start from a high position of advantage, but they learned from the lessons. What can we learn from 1987 in terms of standards as I come to an end? It is that let us encourage failure. Okay, I'm not encouraging, I want you to understand that even if we try, like for 1997, by now we'd be producing our own cars. So let us assemble today. Let us pick a very clear policy in knowledge transfer, so that we build capacity. Because if KenGen, we're talking about geothermal drilling, and we're exporting expertise outside to do the drilling and so on, that means we have expertise. Let's involve our experts to be able to build that capacity, so that then we are able to do the local production. Then it will have an entire value chain in terms of a contribution to the GDP. So then, in a nutshell, we need to review the standards to be able to guard our national interests. Yes, we can go with the global standards, which is important, but sometimes they can be detrimental to the production of our local capacity. Because let's be honest, who would want you to produce your own vehicle, electric vehicle, and sell globally? Okay? Who will want that? Because then it means Kenya is going to be very, very ahead in terms of even, so it's not going to be easy, but we have to be intentional so that then as a nation we are able to create jobs in the entire value chain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer. You really have excited me because, as I did say, Ecomobilas is a strong proponent of local manufacturing, and we are walking the talk. So I have a follow-up question that I want you to hold on, that you answer towards the end. It is a question of, today if you go to a shop and in Liverwood, is it Liverwood, Grogan down there, and the guy in the shop tells you that this is made in Japan, do you really have to interrogate that part anymore? You feel confident that this must be a good part. Are we able to build such a strong name as Kenya, such that when finally we start producing our own in Kenya, when somebody says this is made in Kenya and it has been delivered in Uganda or Tanzania or Rwanda or whichever other country, they'll be confident about it. Make reference to W29 protocol at the UNICE to be able to see the definition of homologation and the development of compliance standards for production of vehicles. Because we do not just want to do vehicles, we want to do vehicles that conform to the standards, so that at least we can manage to go out and tell the world, this is a Kenyan standard and it is a world standard. So think about that as a question to answer later on. Now, Elizabeth, we are very happy about your story. 90% green, producing 70% of energy for Kenya. Now, e-mobility has come here. Do you see the capacity for green energy that you are producing being sufficient for e-mobility? Not now just what Engineer Mugambi is telling us. And as you think about that, what are the green energy solutions that we can encourage these adopters of e-mobility, including the big companies which are rolling out fleets? In case of a shortcoming, they can manage to embrace. I know we have solar, we have wind, we have what. I don't know which ones are easily doable, which cannot be very difficult for them even to do at their micro scale, for them to be able to fill the gap that might be there.
In terms of investment into the green energy, I think there's a lot that is being done as a generating company, whereby we have plugged into the solar. We are looking to invest in solar. We have a plant coming up from solar, and also on the wind. And this will help in providing the energy that is required to go for e-mobility, as we put it into the grid, which is very, very important. In terms of green energy, other uses of green energy is that you can find it in, apart from e-mobility, you can also do fuel cells. You go ahead and do your hydrogen, whereby now that will go ahead and help in the long vehicles, whereby this is helping our country in terms of going beyond the urban mobility and going even into the mashinani, taking the products to up country, whereby you find we are trying to invest in the long vehicles so that there is so much energy that can be used. And other uses is also in terms of refrigeration for the green hydrogen. It can be used in all that, and even forming of the plastics. So there's so much potential of energy and so much potential of green energy, and we are so lucky to have a green grid, because most countries are battling with this, and yet we are so lucky. So it's upon us to explore the green energy, the solar that is very abundant, and also for the fact that we have a population that is full of youth. This will help in providing a lot of labor. And if we are able to attract those investors to come to our country and do these investments where we have the green energy, which is what most countries are lacking, and we have the labor. Those are two factors of production that are very key in any output. So this will really help us scale our country and scale production and generation in major ways.
Thank you. Maybe as a closing question for you. we know the lot of universities, and I hope we have some university students here who are young engineers. And at one point or the other, these students are involved in groundbreaking research. And sometimes they think out of the box from the traditional power you are mentioning here. Some of them are looking at even ocean as sources of energy. Others are talking about energy as you walk. We are having even regenerative vehicles that are able to generate vehicles as you move. I don't know. These people here would want to know, how can KenGen, as a leader in power generation, take us to the energy of the future? Are you willing to partner with institutions of higher learning? Are you having any thought about the energy of the future? Or you just perhaps maybe focusing on your key success areas?
For I think our strategy as KenGen, and I think to the world at extent, I think our focus would be on, this abundance of sun. So that is what we should focus on. But more so on that, we have geothermal. This is our gold for Africa and even for Kenya. This is where we should focus on, because it's a near source of energy. In as much as there is what you were saying, the tidal waves energy, and they are not base load energy. So our focus is on base load energy. And the best base load, as from the study that we have undertaken, is on geothermal. And that's why we have built a lot of expertise on geothermal. And that is what we are focusing on, as it is sustainable and it can go for a long time. And the returns are better. So we may focus on these other small sources of energy, but for KenGen, our focus is on geothermal, and that's what we choose to go by, especially even for the e-mobility and any other way. And that is what we are feeding to the grid for Kenya Power. That's our focus.
I think it's well thought out, especially because of scalability. I agree with you. Thank you. So our final conclusion from Rachel coming this way in the questions that I'd asked, and then I will have our closing remark. Yeah.
Maybe, Chair, if you could remind me about the question, because there's been a lot of conversation going.
We were talking about the future of policy, yes, in terms of e-mobility. Yeah.
So the future of e-mobility, as the ministry that is in charge of policy in terms of transport and also sustainable transport systems, we have the anchor policy, which is the integrated national transport policy. And in that anchor policy for the ministry, we do prioritize sustainable transport systems. E-mobility is one of them. We have non-motorized transport. We have hydrogen that we are looking into also. We have so many other ways of sustainable transport. Specifically for EVs, right now we are trying to have acceleration of e-mobility in the public transport sector. And this is mostly in the buses, the matatu industry, and also the taxi industry. So what we are doing right now is that we are coming up with a funding mechanism and a funding framework together with the World Bank and the African Development Bank to see how are we able to support the public transport sector. And how this is coming in is that we also want to formalize the matatu industry. So we thought, what better way to formalize the industry, telling them to move to EVs, but also providing the financing, so that you tell them, for you to access this financing, we are requesting you that you're able to do this and this. That is that in a way to formalize the industry. And we have seen that this is quite, it has been well accepted by the industry. We are starting with the pilot as Nairobi, but we're also going to go to the other major cities, that is Mombasa and Kisumu and also Nakuru. So this one, towards the end of the year, we're trying to see that this is going to raise the number of e-buses in the country, but also we do know that Basigo is also struggling with the demand. The demand is so much higher, but Basigo is not able to deliver to what the industry is. So we're also looking into how we're going to assist now the startups, how we're going to assist as a government to make sure that they're able to meet the demand in the industry. Yeah.
I think that's quite good. Though we still wanted to know whether we are going to go Ethiopia way. And
if I can put it in a lighter note, that is beyond my pay grade.
Sorry for pushing you that far.
Also, as a country, I feel like we are not as we know as Kenya, we don't want to do harsh policies. We want to also give, because we want a just transition. And what is a just transition? We don't want anyone to be left behind. And as much as some countries, we're not going to judge, but as much as some countries have gone through the harsher route, we also want our youth to be able to have the capacity. Engineer has talked about capacity building and technical skills enhancement. Right now, we do not have the sufficient capacity for our Juakali, our engineers, and also our TVETs. So how are we going to do that? We recently did a training needs assessment to see what are the gaps in the capacity for electric mobility. Then when we tap into that, we also now have, in as much as right now we have sufficient power, but what if now we have a surplus of everyone going to EV? So we are in the process of having an e-mobility strategy for the policy that is going to be data-driven. Because right now, the current policy we have, we didn't do evidence-based targets. So we're coming up with McKinsey Limited, we're coming up with a e-mobility strategy where we're going to see, these were the projections for this year, as Engineer Mugambi had mentioned, and then what are we projecting for this year? And then what measures are we supposed to take to reach there, so that we can be able to just have that just transition and everyone to move with us.
So we press safe, eh?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So Engineer Mugambi, over to you now. You know your question? The question?
The question about renewables. One is that I wish to state clearly that Kenya Power has never been in competition of energy, and neither has the rest of the energy sector. One, the government of Kenya is at the forefront of making sure that there is access even in these areas which are off the grid. Last year, the president himself launched the Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Program, which was targeting all areas where we are not able to get the grid to. Prior to that, I think Kenya Power and the energy space participated in the building code where it demanded that any building being put up should have solar water heating systems. Those are other alternative energy sources. So in terms of getting hybrid systems, even KPLC stations which are off-grid, we are getting hybrid systems for those, solutions for those. Also to note is that as much as Kenyan has mentioned the issue of baseload, which is a very, very emotive issue, especially for proponents of renewable energy. We are not against renewable energy at all, solar and the rest. But for solar and the wind to be to increase the component, then we require also to couple it with storage. You can imagine a situation where the grid is predominantly solar, and for some reason there is a cloud cover. What happens to that grid? Two, we have solar during the day. Our peak hour is around 7 p.m. Where is solar that time? So the encouragement is that yes, as we get in more renewables into our grid, there is need to couple them with battery storage to ensure that we are able to behave like the base load Kengen is producing, because whatever you store during the day, you will be able to get it during the night. So the other issue I would want to bring out is that tariffs and the electric energy costs are core to running cost of electric vehicles. The advantage of electric vehicles is basically on the running costs. Capital costs are a bit high. So we are currently, EPRA has published a schedule starting Monday to 4th for public participation of the new proposed tariffs. So all e-mobility proponents should be able to find where these engagements are, so that we can also put a proper case for e-mobility, so that the gains we have made from the last review period, which was on 2023, we can be able to push them forward, because that's the only way we'll encourage the adoption. Finally, on skills development, which has been discussed quite a lot, is that first and foremost, electric vehicles majorly are the same vehicles as any other of the other vehicles we've had. So we need to start transitioning because of the drivetrain and the electrical part of these vehicles, as opposed to looking at it that we are starting from scratch. We already have people, and the converting people already in the industry into the EV capability, giving them EV capabilities is quite doable. I have been interacting with especially the people who are expanding, like Bus Going themselves, Spiro, Ampersand, the people on the motorcycles. Actually, it is taking a week to certify someone who is already conversant with a fossil fuel vehicle into someone who can be able to attend to majorly most of the things which happen during operational issues for EVs. Then we can leave more advanced training to the engineers board and the other regulators and TVETs and the rest. But it is very easy to convert, especially the young generation. I don't want to say the older ones. The older ones definitely will have to do something about it. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Engineer. I know the last question, which is going to Engineer Okere in the the EBK, is a very tough question, but engineers don't mind tough things. So I don't know how much ready EBK is to lead us in the path of conformity, so that we'll be able to start our manufacturing. Tell us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That's a very good question. First, let me just start by responding to what my fellow panelists said. Rachel said, she said that we do not have capacity. I would want to take it differently and say we do have somewhere to start. Okay, we have somewhere to start, because in our register we have over 30,000 engineers. 30,000 engineers drawn in different categories. We have graduate engineers, we have professional engineers, we have consulting engineers like myself, we have accredited checkers in different engineering disciplines, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, civil and structural, chemical, biomedical engineers. Even we have aeronautical engineers, and even marine and the ones in the blue economy. So we have the potential. You see, when you say we don't have capacity, it means we are probably at zero. We have innovators like Paul and the chair. I mean, that's capacity. But perhaps the question would be, how do we build from there? How do we work from there to build the capacity? If we compare ourselves with other countries that have gone ahead, for instance, China and Japan, if we go back time in history, where we are now, they were there at one point. They also had one consulting, one farm, one finance, and so on, but they made a deliberate decision to build their capacity. There was a time they were just like copy and paste, copying technology. If you remember, there was a phase, they were just copying. Then it reached a moment whereby they changed their mindset, and now they start inventing. So we need to start from somewhere. And I would say at the board, we are working closely with the industry. We have a very good collaboration with the universities in terms of accreditation of the courses. We work together with the industry, the academia. That collaboration is very, very important, because then it's going to enhance research-specific needs that serve the market. So you had asked about, I remember, about the brand. You know, when you talk about this glass and then you're told that it's made in German, you'll not have any questions about it. Why? Because they have built over time. It has taken time for them to build a brand that is acceptable worldwide, a brand that is related to quality. Okay, when you look at a Japanese brand, you will know it is a mark of quality. In Kenya, we have among one of the top engineers in the country. The one who designed the London transport system is a Kenyan. We have those ones who are, we talk about Rwanda, talk about Botswana. Actually, there are Kenyan engineers who are building there. So if it's a matter of competence, there's no question about it. The question is, how do we then deploy them? For instance, in the automotive industry that you asked, Prof, are we able to embrace and give mechanical engineers an opportunity also to do, for instance, valuation? Because we have a number of policies that lock out, lock out the professionals. To value a car, for instance, the law says it should not be done by an engineer, but it is an engineer who designed and built it. So you see, some of the laws are prohibitive. They say for you to value a vehicle, you need, I don't know, to do training with an insurance. I don't know what. There are some laws and policies that are prohibitive in terms of building the capacity. So in terms of the Kenyan brand, I'll give an example of what we can learn even from distance runners. We have the runner, I think Sawe, who was able to break the record of running sub 2 hour marathon. So Kenya is known as a country of resilience, innovative culture is there. So it is just for us also to trust ourselves. When we put also so much trust in the external brands, are we also promoting our own? Tali, from the lady, the executive from UNIDO, asked a very important question. He asked the audience, how many of you are putting clothes made in Kenya? I don't know who, there was very few who stood up, okay? Because now, do we also promote our own, right from the clothes to, so we need also to promote our own, okay? To promote our own brand, to promote our own professionals, to promote our own resources, then we can build on that. So just to answer your question, how then is CBK ready? How is it positioned? I would say we are looking at the future, because if you look at electrical mobility, in future we'll have a smart electric vehicle, a vehicle that can communicate to another vehicle, a vehicle that can communicate to a house, you see. For instance, when you reach your gate, you don't need to start beeping and so on. It just communicates through artificial intelligence. So we need to prepare professionals who are able to leverage on these advantages that are going to come. We are going to look at vehicles that can generate power, I think the grid connected, so that as it is charging, there is a way that it can still be, returning it back to the grid. Because even as an economy, 2 gigawatts is way too small. We need, Ethiopia is is really picking up in terms of economic growth. Why? Because they have adequate power. So we need to be talking about 15, 20 gigawatts there. And Chair, as I come to a close, research. We need also a change of mindset. Most of the time we do research so that we can, research to earn a degree, research to something minor. These major economies, research is for dominance. They do research so that they can dominate. Research is for welfare. If you look at the Russia-Ukraine war, drones are used actually for warfare. They're using drones for research, and they don't need to fight one-on-one. So how can we change our mindset so that we do our research to use it to solve our problems? Research so that Kenya becomes the top research institution as a country in Africa, so that we can dominate economies through research. And I remember when the Master of Ceremony was asking, I have a dream. I remember, Prof, we shared, we were seated next. I said, my dream, I have a dream. Then I didn't follow the script of Martin Luther King. My dream is to see Africa prosper. Okay, how do we see Africa prosper? By building our capacity, by encouraging excellence in the engineering space, using our own talent, whether it's engineers and so on. And also there's an issue of harmonization of policies. Some of these policies are kind of fragmented. When we talk about e-mobility, we link it to innovation, we link it to entrepreneurship, we link it to even the Nyota program. They should all be integrated so that in a way that to be able to solve the problems that we have in a sustainable way. So at the Engineers Board of Kenya, we're looking forward to intentional partnerships, partnership with the industry, partnerships with the academia, partnerships with the various stakeholders so that we can build the capacity, continue building the capacity and enhancing excellence and being pragmatic, because many solutions, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Other countries have succeeded in the transition. They have succeeded in economic development. So why not Kenya? Why can't we also be a giant in Africa insofar as e-mobility is concerned?
Thank you very much, Engineer Okere. I see the passion. You can see the passion in him. And I hope we're going to have e-mobility being taught in universities, be it an elective or a major, because we need those people. Because one of the most important things for you to drive an industry is HR. If you don't have the human resources who can learn with it, then we are zero. And I hope we'll be able to get there. So it's time for questions. We allow a maximum of 4 questions. And I think there are 5 hands, so I will allow all of the 5. So we'll start with here, and then we go like that, all the 5. Yeah. So when you ask a question, mention it's who, so that they can note it down. Yeah.
Good evening. I believe it's past afternoon. My name is Zainab Mohammed, and I'm from civil society. My question is to Engineer Mugambi. We're talking about e-mobility and the use of electricity. Yet, for me, I speak from my experience coming from Utangi, we often experience power failures that can go up to hours, and some go up to 2 days or 3 days. And we are moving forward to where we're encouraging people on e-mobility. How do you plan to make sure that that process goes smoothly? Kama bado hatuja adapt kutumia hizi electric vehicles sana, see power shortages.
We'll answer all of them together. Next one.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Silas. So I have some nice questions to ask. First, my sister from the, I think from the ministry. There's this funding gap you talked about from the, I think, World Bank, some partners we are working on. So we are interested because I work for Kipres. What are they funding around? What are they funding within this value chain? Because they always, World Bank have a target, and there's an inception report. They say, tell you this is what they want to fund up to this point. I would have loved to hear more because I'm interested in more finance around that. Then there was something that you picked around hydrogen. I don't know, I think if it was you, I think it is KenGen, about hydrogen. I know there is only one active hydrogen site in Naivasha. I know there's an American company doing something in Naivasha, around Naivasha there, because we have worked on a project there. So, and then you said there's some potential on the utilization. So I don't know how far KenGen is also trying to incorporate that, because in Kenya we don't have. I know there is another study that looked at where to put the site, and they were coming up with the Turkana, which is a bit far from Nairobi, and insecurity issues. So there are so many issues that were coming back. Then they were thinking of Mombasa, then there were a lot of feasibility study around that didn't work very well. I would have loved to hear more about that stories. Then something around data centers. You see, the president has been so much vocal in terms of data center from the US, and then they don't want to come because there's the issues of power is not enough, and then the EV is also growing up here. How is the KenGen ready? Because that would make a lot of sense. Then I just want to, another 2 questions very fast on power charge, Kenya Power. Yes, the Kenya Power, you see there was some talk sometimes back, the Kenya Power wanted to open some stations, charging stations. How far is that? Because most of the charging stations are in Nairobi, and they are not outside the country. So outside the Nairobi, the capital center, and even Mombasa, very few of them. How far is that as of today? Because that one affect adoption. Then lastly,
I think those are enough. Let's give someone else another chance. Yeah.
Evening, everyone. My name is Edwin. I come from Thika. I work with an organization called We Don't Have Time. It's the world's largest media platform for climate action. So I would love to invite you all to join. It's an app on Play Store. We have a lot of engineers, researchers that share their ideas and share their innovations. on that platform, so you can learn a lot. So I want to start by giving kudos to Ecomobilers, because whatever you're doing has already proven that transition to green economy or renewable e-mobility is already a job creation or a job creator. So my question is, it goes to the engineer. As we have lobbyists who push for fossil fuels and subsidies and all that to encourage the continuation of use of fossil fuels, what is your position as the Engineer Board of Kenya doing to lobby for making EV systems or infrastructure more cheaper, so that they can be affordable locally, and what the other one goes to Ecomobilers. I think, Chair, you'll just take this, even if you're chairing the meeting. What are you doing to make sure that the EVs you're creating are more sustainable and have enough power and are convenient? Because what people are buying nowadays is convenience. There is no way you'll buy a motorbike that will only last, or a car that will only take you for maybe 80 kilometers and then it shuts off. You have to look to find a charging station. So you'll tell us more on that.
Maybe those are enough so that at least we don't.
One last thing. It's on the policies. I'd like to a little bit bash the policies part. We have been hypocritical, and it's ironical that we have policies that encourage Kenyans to buy cars that are over 8 years old from wherever they're coming from, but we are, on the other hand, fighting or discouraging the importation of EVs that are new and are more eco-friendly. So let's look on that.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a comment, not a question. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I think I was not ready for such a hot panel, but it has been very, very enlightening. Thank you, Chair, also for the moderation. I have two questions, Chair. My name is Irene from Kipra. My first question, Chair, I've heard the panel talking about electronic mobility and the EV world in Kenya, but being an evidence-based conference, we would like also to hear the statistics. How do Kenya sit with Africa? I don't know whom to direct this to. Yes, Engineer Mugambi. Engineer Mugambi, maybe also I'd like to listen to you speak on the environmental aspect of EV. Because the other challenge we are saying is that, yes, you want to encourage this, but how does it sit in the environment and the disposal of electronic motor vehicles in Kenya? And finally, I think my question, and this is the last one, Chair, is to Kengen. Kengen, we are still saying geothermal. Geothermal, I don't think it's working very good for Kenya. It's very expensive. Have you thought about bamboo? It's happening in South Asia. Thank you.
Okay, I hope you got it. All right. So we had, was it one more person or two? One, okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you. I have 5 questions.
Ask two, please. In the interest of time, ask two.
Thank you. I'll try to combine. Mine is with regard to, in the next 5 years or so, we are likely to see high demand for conversion from internal combustion engines to battery electric vehicles. What policy incentives do we have in place to support local converting industries, and also attracting foreign companies that are interested in startups for targeting conversion? We've already seen there are a few companies trying to do that. What incentives do we have? And then also, if one day all 25% of vehicles in Kenya are EV, is Kenya Power ready to provide such energy needs?
That's the second question, so thank you.
The other one is, the last one is, how do we ensure in future that Kenya doesn't become a dumping site for EVs that have approached end of life, especially the lithium batteries? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's have the last question.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Lewis Munjalu. I have 2 questions. One is about e-waste management, whereby I direct this question to engineer. How do you verify emissions reductions for carbon credits? The second one is about what mechanisms are in place to ensure that you are able to abide by the regulations set aside by the government on e-mobility. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The questions are quite many. So all the questions on regulations, abiding with the standards, I think engineer will handle those ones. Questions on e-waste and the numbers, the capacity for power, KPLC can handle that, engineer Mugambi. Questions on renewables, I think you can handle that, Elizabeth. And Rachel, questions on policy and what government is doing, you can handle that. So each 1 minute. We start with Engineer Mugambi.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the first question, which was about reliability of supply Utanga area. I wish to state that in Kenya, when it rains, Kenya Power imefanya ile kitu. Wameanua stima. It's a very common statement, but I wish to assure you that reliability of supply and quality of supply is integral to KPLC operations. Therefore, it is a continuous improvement activity. As the network continues to grow, as it continues to age, as we continue investing into the network, it's a continuous improvement process. KPLC is ISO certified to make sure that, or rather, which is evidence that we are on a continuous improvement journey. Therefore, we have not eliminated, I will not say that we'll eliminate interruptions, but we are continuously working towards improving, reducing the number of interruptions, and reducing the duration of those interruptions. Some areas we are also looking in the previous questions was, what are we doing? One, on the EV space is to improve the quality and reliability of supply. The other one is to map out problematic areas where we have isolated challenges, because as Utanga gets interruption every day, you will find someone else in this country who has not had an interruption for the last 1 week or 1 month. And even when that interruption takes place, it is extremely short. This improvement has been taking place over the years. Therefore, we are assuring the e-mobility space that we are prepared to face whatever the future throws at us. The other question was on our ability and our network, because there has been discussion in the industry and in the space that Kenya Power is setting up stations. This is a story which is both true and also not true. KPLC is a facilitator. It is the link with consumers of energy. We are not competing with private capital into setting up power charging stations. But there are stations we have set up because of early adoption for our own fleet, which we are sharing with the public. We powered the journey to Ethiopia. For those who are following the EV space, last year we did 2,000 kilometers between Nairobi and Addis Ababa. And we powered the journey to Moyale. Ethiopia took over from us. They powered the journey to Addis Ababa and back to Moyale, and we powered the caravan back to Nairobi. Today, we are powering a caravan from Nairobi coming to Mombasa tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow. And we are also powering another one to Kisumu to be back in Nairobi in the next 2 days. Currently, we have a station. The last time I talked to them, they were charging at our station in Emali. We have a station in Motito Adei. We have a station at Voi, and tomorrow we'll be launching our station at Nyali, which is ready, and we'll be powering. Now, we are not powering cars. We are powering prime movers, trucks. We expect to move a 40-ton container on electricity to Nairobi by Sunday morning. So it'll be the truck which is coming down will basically tow, or rather pull a trailer back to Nairobi, and it will be purely on electric. So we are no longer dealing with small stuff, motorcycles. We are looking to powering actually the trucking industry. We are powering buses. So that is something. Then the other issue was, will Kenya Power be able to power this industry in the next many years? We are not, Kenya Power will not be powering the industry. The energy sector will be powering this industry. I think it's Rachel or Kenjen who mentioned about the least cost power development plan. This is a story of the chicken and the egg. For someone to invest in 15 gigawatts of energy, there must be demand. Otherwise, someone will carry that cost as capital or investment which is not making money. Just like the charging stations, there are people waiting to see charging stations before they buy cars. People with the ability to invest in charging are waiting for cars for them to invest. So this need to grow simultaneously. So as a country, as the energy sector, we are preparing to develop, actually we are a couple of years, at least 5 years ahead of the demand, for purposes of ensuring that we continuously develop the energy resources as the load catches up. During, I think 2 governments back, we had a very ambitious plan of going to 5,000 megawatts. But the load refused to grow as fast. So we had to curtail that plan, because that investment, nobody would be able to invest for an investment which will take another 10 years to start giving you returns. Therefore, feel confident as you transition your mobility solutions to EV that the energy space in Kenya is prepared for you.
Last one.
Finally, there was issue of statistics and environmental concerns. Environmental concerns, there is a whole program on circular economy, whereby we'll be able to use the same batteries. For example, for an electric vehicle battery, when it gets to 80%, it is no longer good for electric mobility, but it's good for energy storage. So there are teams working on this, such that we'll have proper disposal of electric batteries. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute, please. So 3 minutes, we are done.
Thank you. So the question was the EV versus the fossil fuel vehicles. So that's a policy issue, in the sense that it's almost the same argument with the one for Mitumba cloths and having our own, whereby there is a transition. There needs to be a balance. Are we as an economy able to afford acquiring a new electric vehicle, and at what costs compared to the fossil fuel? We still need the fuel as at now. So that's a conversation that is going to take time. It is going to take time to a level where the economy is able to support this new EV as compared to the fossil fuel vehicles. Another thing also is even the transport system. Why do we need the vehicles in the first place? There are some economies where to even have a vehicle is even more expensive than because the transport system is working efficiently. So even as much as we are talking about the need to have the e-mobility, in another conversation, if we'll be having a very efficient transport system, maybe it's going to be on the flip side. We'll not need as many vehicles as possibly we think. It's the need for them is because our transport system is not as efficient as we would like it to be. Then quickly on the issue of compliance regulations, Well, this is a whole government approach. For instance, something about safety. When you hear safety in the vehicles, I mean safety in the road sector, it's not just about the National Transport and Safety Authority. No, that's just a component, or the entire issue about safety it's multi-stakeholder. Even safety starts with you and me. You have a part to play in terms of safety. EBK has a part in terms of safety by producing, competent engineers to do, if it is the roads, to do standard roads. So compliance to regulations is a multi-stakeholder engagement approach, so that then there is, compliance to the policy and the regulations and the laws that are in place, so that each particular organization does its work. So here at the Engineers Board of Kenya, we are committed in terms of ensuring there is adherence to the required standards. I think that is
okay.
That's all. Yeah,
thank you very much. 1 minute. 37.
On matters of renewable energy, one of the things that I've seen works very well is in terms of partnerships. I think, and that's why we have Directorate, the PPP, that is coming up very strongly in terms of projects. And I think this is one of the things that we KenGen are riding on, whereby we have partnerships. We are looking into partnerships for solar manufacturing the panels that will help. We are not oblivious of the fact that there is geothermal, but unless the battery becomes cheaper, so far the solar plus geothermal, the cost would almost is a bit higher compared to doing geothermal. In terms of the bamboo that you were talking about, I think that's something we have not explored, and I look forward to looking into that. We'll explore that, and I think that's why we are stuck to the geothermal. For other sources of power like hydrogen, it's something that we are partnering also to do hydrogen that will be used in our Olkaria Park, as my colleague earlier said on. So we generate the hydrogen, and it's used for different forms of business. And also in terms of the charging stations, we need to demystify the car and make sure, like what we are doing today, it's very important so that people are aware that it's only until we have the vehicles that the infrastructure will make sense. But also that we have also started investing in the infrastructure, and that the government is aware, and hence the many incentives that are in place.
Finally?
And yes, so the key is to form partnerships. That's very important. Every organization here, without partnerships, as we have been told, we are doing competition. It's way past. We were told we are chasing time. It's more about partnerships and how we can ride on as Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start with the funding mechanism. So under the World Bank, we're going under the Kenya Urban Mobility Improvement Program. That's why I mentioned that we are focusing on the public transport sector, that is the buses, because the World Bank wants us to formalize our public transport sector, and now we are doing that also to have shift towards electric mobility. For the African Development Bank, it's through the green climate financing, and this one is more holistic. It's going to deal with charging infrastructure, two-wheeler, three-wheeler. That's where the focus is on. In terms of the green hydrogen, there's a green hydrogen strategy that was launched in 2023. Maybe now you can go and familiarize yourself with that strategy. It's a 10-year strategy, and it shows all the phases that we were supposed to come, also the Ministry of Energy and KenGen. There was also the question on end of life. So currently we don't have a regulation for that, but we are in the process of having the end of life regulation. We are looking into battery circularity, we are looking into battery repurposing, and also the retrofitting. The retrofitting is currently happening, but it's not regulated. So we are also looking into all of that. And also currently we do have standards for the state of battery health. The KEBS did publish that no EV comes in that is below 80%. So we do have standards. Yes, there is need for them to be reviewed, but right now we do have standards. Thank you.
Well, I think they deserve a clap. And as we stand up to take our photo, I want to assure the one who asked a question about ecomobilas that whatever processes are required, we are working with the engineers here. That's why we are working with the University of Nairobi and other institutions to make sure that we comply, because our product is intended for the world. So we want to have a group photo. Perhaps you can step in front here. It's dark. Some of us we are very dark. I don't know.
We serve 7,800 farmers who bring their tea to this factory. Some of the best shareholders we can ever talk about, because they have supported this factory since 1963 until now. We have processing cities, which is mainly exported to Pakistan, England, UK, and very many other countries. We have Orthodox tea, which you have also given some of the best teas, Orthodox teas, coming from this country to the world. We are just about to release some of the finest brands that will fly off the shelves in supermarkets, called Chinga Light. Beyond Chinga Light, we are going to have another brand that is going to be coming out very soon, that is called Chinga Delight. That is in addition to Chinga Premium teas that we are already selling. We are intending to have Orthodox tea and green tea also in our variation project. Chinga Light will have other additives like ginger. This tea is something that we want to do not only for this factory, not only for the catchment, but we want to do for international market. Inside here in the factory, we have a quality management system, ISO 9001. That is to ensure consistency, and the product that comes out of this factory is consistently good. We are also having another certification, international standard food safety management system, to ensure that the food is safe. So we can proudly tell anybody world over that we have systems in place to ensure that the tea that comes from Chinga Tea Factory is safe, is cultivated by farmers who have minded about the environment, and the factory is caring about the environment. We are caring about sustainability and the future of the planet. We have directly employed 200 employees, and sometimes they go higher when the crop is so high. Our workforce, we have about, out of them, they are permanent and pensionable, and others are here on season contracts. Out of the 7,800 farmers that we are serving, they are able to give us about 17 million kilograms of green leaf per year. In a good month like this one, we are expected to have about 2 million kilograms of green leaf. And in lower seasons, during pruning, the crop can go down to about 1 million. Cumulatively, in a whole year, we do about 18 million kilograms of green leaf. The tea they bring this month, at the end of the month, they are assured of 30 shillings per kg of green leaf. That was just recent, which we were coming from 25. Below, we were at 20 just last year. So the farmers' income has been growing. Another thing that we have been seeing is the return. After the profits are calculated at the end of the year, we have what we call final payment or second payment, which is the profit that the farmers are accrued, which have also been growing. Last year, we were able to give a final payment of 43 shillings and 50 cents. One of the things that I want to appreciate the government that has done recently is to remove VAT from tea sales which are being sold at the gate. That 16% VAT has gone a long way in improving the fortunes of the farmers. We would wish to see the government do more in terms of marketing. We know we have a body, very many bodies that market products from Kenya. We would wish to see more countries going to negotiations with the tea. Before I go far, I remember the teas or the agricultural products going to China has been zero rated. So we would wish to see more accelerated marketing, and we appreciate that initiative. But now we want to see more help in taking this tea to other markets in China, because one of the biggest challenges that we have as a company is over-reliance on traditional markets. We want the government to assist us move tea to different markets, and that will be good. We also appeal for support in variation. We have heard the government talk about common user facilities, removing some taxes on the burden of the farmers. Those initiatives are welcome. We look forward to better working conditions here.